Hey guys, it's Fat Dad Fanboy here, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Zoe Dare versus the Disastriod. This is a fantastic little comic book that I picked up in Corpus Christi at Corpus Christi Comic Con. A great place where I got to meet some incredible cosplayers, some great artists, and some killer celebrities. But the one person I met out there was Andrew Herman, the illustrator of this particular comic book. He had some great artwork. He had some really interesting stuff out there. But I really was intrigued by this comic book. Like I say, it's illustrated by Andrew Herman. It was also written by Brockton McKinney and published by Action Lab Comics. So let's go ahead and get into this. I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about what we're going to do. I'm going to talk about the things that I loved about this comic book. I'm going to talk about the things that I didn't love so much about this comic book. And then at the very end, I'm going to give it a fat thumbs rating. Well, you've heard of a 5-star rating and a 2 thumbs up. Well, I'm going to combine the two, and I'm going to do it Fat Dad style. We're going to go with a scale of 0 to 5 fat thumbs. Boom. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this book. Again, I said I met Andrew Herman out there, and I picked up this little gem from Action Lab Comics, and what really drew me into it was this incredible artwork right here that we see. Zoe Dare versus the Disastriod. Love it. It's got a 50s sci-fi vibe to the cover with a little bit of the 1970s Evel Knievel style. Now, I don't know about you, but I grew up in the 1970s as a young child, and I had Evel Knievel toys, and I absolutely loved it, and it was part of that nostalgia that drew me in here. And talking to Andrew, I realized that this was definitely something that I was going to be interested in reading. Let's talk about some of the things that I absolutely love about this, and we'll start with characters. Now, I will tell you there may be some spoilers in here if you've not read this book and you're interested in it. I'm going to try to keep the spoilers to a minimum, but there will be some. First and foremost, things that I love, let's talk characters. I absolutely love Zoe Dare. Zoe Dare is an adventurous young woman. She is a stunt woman, daredevil. She is fantastic. She is a prodigy. She is the daughter of a famous stunt man who you will definitely see a lot of Evel Knievel influences there. Sadly, her father passed away trying a dangerous stunt, a stunt which we'll later see Zoe actually try to do. Then, of course, you know, the thing about Zoe that I really enjoy, again, she is very adventurous. She's got a toughness about her. She's also got some brains behind that. She's also a very flawed character. She has some moments where you think maybe she's got a little mental illness or something like that going on. Maybe she's just a little bit on the crazy side, but certainly. You know, some self-doubt that really make her interesting. You don't get that she's head and shoulders above the people around her. She is really, really good, but not so much that it's not believable, not so much that she doesn't have contemporaries. So I absolutely love that about her. Second character that I really loved was Race Thunderbuckle. Race Thunderbuckle is an interesting character. He is the rival of Zoe, and of course of Zoe's father, and Zoe absolutely blames him for her father's death, always pushing pushing her dad, and ultimately pushing him into the most dangerous stunt of his career, which would take his life. However, what really makes this story killer is the relationship between those two characters. In a lot of ways, of course, this is Zoe's story, but in a lot of ways, Race is a real hero in this story as well. Makes a lot of great sacrifices for Zoe. They build their relationship to one of mutual respect. And certainly, I just think Race is one of the more fun and interesting characters. He and Zoe are definitely contemporaries. You don't get the impression that one's head and shoulders above the other, which I think is absolutely fantastic and really makes Zoe somebody you can root for a little bit more, and actually makes Race somebody you can root for just a little bit more, because you can see the amount of respect that he has for her. So he's definitely a hero in this story. Other characters I really love, King Zentar, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it, but King Zentar is absolutely insane. He is a great character. He's quirky. He monologues. His emotional state changes on a dime. So he's definitely a great character. He's fun. You never know what he's going to do. He's kind of, you know, again, he can go from being really quirky and fun to being in an emotional rage, and I find that just very fascinating. And then the next character that I really loved was his enforcer, Yana. And I absolutely look at her, and she is, she's tough. She is Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. I mean, that's how cool she is. She's all business. She is definitely the toughest character in this entire book, and I think the fact that she is so tough really makes you know, her confrontations with Zoe so good, because you know Zoe really can't probably beat Yana, so Zoe constantly has to come up with a way to kind of outsmart her in the end, and I think the dynamic between those two characters was really a lot of fun. Other character I really loved was one of our two droids, one of our two little robots. His name is JJ. He's a brave little robot, makes a lot of sacrifices for the group and for Zoe. So I really liked him, definitely the more serious of the two robots. Characters I did not care for as much. I didn't care for Danny Dare, Zoe's sister. I felt like the Danny character was just a little bit too good at her job. You know, as Zoe, I said, you know, you kind of got the impression that she and Race are kind of on the same level, and then she has to kind of overcome the Yana character. There was really no one that kind of competed with Danny, and I thought that kind of made the story a little less interesting. The other thing about Danny that I didn't care for as much was that I felt like she's another example of how this story at times it tries to be just a little bit too cool. It's already a cool story, but you know, she knows a lot of 80s movie references, and it just felt really unnecessary. Something else that felt completely unnecessary was our robot Vic. Hashtag robots shouldn't hashtag, right? Vic hashtagged a lot. He was definitely the comic relief. Everything he said was meant to be funny, and there were times it was just too much. So I definitely would have left Vic out. He kind of reminds me of the robot from Max Steel, and you know, it was okay for that movie. Not that any of you guys saw it, but for this comic book, it wore on me. It was not. It wasn't something that I enjoyed. Another character that I really could have done away with, and here's a big spoiler, okay, was Ghost Dad. Now, it's never really clear if Zoe's dad is an actual ghost playing all Obi-Wan Kenobi to Zoe being Luke Skywalker, or if he's if he's a figment of her imagination. But Ghost Dad pops up here and there, and in the end, I think he was a kind of a scene killer, and I'll talk a little bit about that as we talk about what I really loved about the story. This story opens up with one of the most interesting and beautiful moments that I've ever seen in a comic book. It opens up with Zoe kind of looking down at the planet. She's about to make this incredible space jump. She's going through some self-doubt. She's asking herself what her father would have done if he was afraid, and all of those things that he might have gone through. And then it just goes and it says, boom, 3 weeks previous, and you're back in the past, and Zoe's performing this big daredevil moment. So it goes from this really emotionally heavy moment in the story in the opening to this fun, absolutely high-octane, adventurous kind of moment. The story itself is clever, it's zany, there is a lot of emotional heaviness, but there's also a lot of fun, and it probably a lot of adventure as well. And I absolutely love that. There's some really cool twists with the Disastriod. I've seen similar concepts in Dusk, but I absolutely love the way they pull the Disastriod off, and really what the Disastriod, when it's revealed what it actually is. I think it's really clever and fun. So I absolutely love that. There's a definite adventure. The relationships, you know, they really pop up. I think Yana versus Zoe, which we see a few times in the book, it's an awesome adventure. And the way the two characters interact from the first confrontation with Yana, and how Yana handles that, and how she sets that up, and how she really overcomes Zoe in those moments to the last confrontation between the two characters, and really the way that Zoe kind of turns the tables on her and outsmarts her. Just a fantastic relationship there, and really a lot of fun in those confrontations. We see a lot of great moments for Race, and certainly the way that his relationship with Zoe builds. It's fun, it's fast-paced, you know, but again, there's some of that emotional heaviness, and I think some of that really adds. What I loved is there's two endings. I'm going to tell you, there's an emotional ending, and then there's a fun, zany ending. The fun, zany ending is absolutely ridiculous, and the comic book knows that, and it laughs about it. It kind of gets that. And I absolutely love that the writers kind of put that in there. Then there's the emotionally heavy ending, which is going to fall under the category of things that I did not care for in this book. What I didn't care for about that particular ending is it starts up, it comes full circle back from this beautiful beginning, And we come back to this full circle moment where Zoe's looking down on the planet and she's going through those moments of self-doubt, and then kind of Ghost Dad kind of comes into the picture. Just for me, it really felt like an unnecessary moment, and it killed what was such an amazing moment in the opening of the comic book. So that particular ending didn't sit well with me. She comes back to Earth. There's still some emotional heaviness there, which kind of redeems a little bit, but not to the point where I could just get past that. Overall, how did I like this story? I absolutely love this story. I'm going to go ahead and say that this story was 4 out of 5 fat thumbs. That was 4 out of 5 fat thumbs. If they would have just handled the ending a little bit better and gotten rid of all the hashtagging from the robot, I would have probably given this a 5. But still, nonetheless, Zoe Dare versus Disastriod, it's worth reading if you're interested. It's certainly a lot of fun. Hey, make sure that when you go to these great Comic Cons that you check out all the independent artists, because, hey, why do we love Comic Cons? It's about stories. It's about characters. And you never know what you're missing. You never know what you're missing. Hey, I'm Fat Dad Fanboy. Thanks for watching my video. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.